attention, morons, because you might learn something. Now, the Gavel David Lawless Esquire needs no introduction, as I am the greatest attorney and professional wrestler in the world. But when the Gavel is taking a break from his busy schedule of cashing checks and snapping necks, I'm listening to my favorite podcast, WrestleMarks, hosted by Jason Swinchock and Matthew Mount. You know, there's a lot of morons today with microphones that think they know what they're talking about, but for all of your wrestling news, reviews, historical information, and current events, go to the best in the biz, WrestleMarks. And don't be a moron. Listen to the #1 show in wrestling, WrestleMarks. Because if you don't, the Gavel will slap a lawsuit on you so fast, you won't even be able to say, mount up. You're welcome, morons.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the WrestleMarks. A sweet intro by, you heard him. We don't need to say much more about Mr. Lawless, but we will in the official David the Gavel Lawless section of this episode. But I got to say thanks to him real quick for that awesome intro he just gave us for this show. We are back. Matthew, the mouth of Monongahela Mounts, is with me. I have, of course, the Jason Swinchock.
Huh?
That was just so. That's the end. That's where the editors can cut in the applause. I hope they didn't miss that cue. And we have been dubbed the gods of pods because we are the WrestleMarks, baby.
That's right.
Bam. And I don't know what like pumps you up more than listening to the Gavel tell you to watch his favorite pro wrestling podcast. And it's, you know why? It's because we don't listen, man. I don't bull crap, and we don't act like we know everything. We shoot like we talk like dudes talk about wrestling.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean? Can you even say that? Am I even allowed to say two dudes talking wrestling? Or, I mean, is that not a thing? I don't know. But we just did, and there we go. Oops. Minus 1,000 subscribers on that one. So let's start off with everybody's favorite sports entertainment company in the world, owner of the longest running episodic dramatic television series in the history, and that is World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated.
So I've been told that I always start out being really negative about WWE.
Who told you?
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Wait a minute. Was that come from me or comments?
No, that came from somebody outside of the comments.
Okay, good. I was going to say I didn't know.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to start out with some positive things about WWE that I think is actually going really, really well, and I think that it's going to be entertaining to watch, possibly if it's done right. Okay, Goldberg made his return again to wrestling against. He's going to be facing Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. I think that could be good if Lashley goes over him rather than the other way around. I think that could be good. It can't go longer than 5 minutes. It just can't. I think that it's cool that Randy Orton and Riddle are going to probably end up having a tag team championship match against AJ Styles and Omos. That should be a pretty good match. And then my other positive thing about it is I think that Balor challenging Roman Reigns for the title at SummerSlam is going to be a really interesting thing. I'm just hoping they don't make it a triple threat match with John Cena.
Well, I don't think you can go wrong putting Cena involved in anything. I think you get people. I think just putting Cena out there. Hey, listen, I pay attention.
Yeah,
because it would come to surprise a lot of people out there that Jason Swinchock is a John Cena fan. Because for years I said, dude, boy, heel Cena, we're waiting. But you know what? What I admire and respect about John Cena, despite the fact that he's a psychopath, and I love how crazy he is off cameras and in his house and stuff, on all those diva shows and the Bella shows. But I like the guy because he says, look, this is my character and I do my job. When they tell me to get out and make everyone boo, I'll do it. I'm not opposed to it, but I just do my job and I do my job the best as a bill. And I think, throw in all the charity he does. And sometimes wrestling does need an indisposable hero type character that we can always count on. And if anybody could hold a torch right now without having to go through any kind of vetting process with any pro wrestling fan, if John Cena would show up and to beat Kenny Omega, we would all go, yeah, because he's John Cena. He could probably carry all the belts and we would believe it.
Yeah.
So I think
I agree with that.
Putting Cena in any scenario makes us go, we believe it. I'm still whatever with Roman Reigns and whatever with Balor, but bringing him back. Now, bringing Goldberg back. I just find us reaching back and keep going to the WCW Goldberg star as like, boy, it's funny how Vince eats his words over the years, because how many years did we sit around like how making fun of the old wrestlers, and WCW was the old folks' home of the wrestlers, and we're the new generation. And if you don't have these old guys, that's the draw, folks. You got to pass the torch on. You can't steal the torch. Sometimes you got to snuff the torch out when they don't hang on and go away. But a big part of that business is building the next star. If you're not building your next potential match with a new opponent, you're stagnating your own career.
Yep.
Me and you could only ever do this show so much before it hits its peak, and then it's going to jump the shark. All right. Eventually, someone's going to be like, "You guys should bring a co-host in." But if this doesn't lead to some new form of change and dynamic, moving on with people, that is the biggest problem, I think.
Well, see, my thing is with Goldberg.
My cat chimes in there. So, with Goldberg, but you said it. It's like, okay, keep it under 5 minutes. Well, then why the hell, or if we all have to go, okay, well, this is a super kayfabe match, because look at what's his face comparing. Goldberg's no small dude.
No, but he's also.
But Goldberg's closer to 60 than anybody in that ring.
Yes,
near that ring at that night.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley should, now he's no spring chicken either. Lashley's been around 15 years, himself. But as far as being in shape, it would really be a tarnish. I don't know. I wouldn't. I think I don't know if putting the belt on Goldberg on any reason right now and killing Lashley off would not. I don't know. Because they don't have a long-term plan to ever do anything or build something better with it. So it would be to squash Lashley and then go, well, what do we do with him? He'll just ride out his contract and come on over with everybody else.
Yeah.
The goal is to get him to
That's the thing that I worry about anytime you see a Goldberg return, or you see even whenever Sting returned, he was going to face Rollins. It was a big thing where it was okay, you kind of want to see the belt on this guy, and we've already seen the belt on Goldberg, obviously, so that's not really that big of a deal. But it's you bring these guys back, and it's if you put the belt on this guy, it's only going to be for a month to carry to the next pay-per-view, maybe, and then he's going to have to get beat by somebody who's bigger and badder than he is. And right now, Lashley's the biggest, baddest thing you got because Brock Lesnar isn't there.
Well, that's why that's the flattest roster It's the flattest roster in WWE history because anybody can beat anybody at give or take. It's the extreme. It's the extreme literate definition of when McMahon used to say anything can happen here in the WWF. And yeah, you're right. Because at anything, nothing makes sense. And which is ultimately why you have to steer towards what, not to sing praise of them, but have the damn statistics mean something.
Well, did you see I don't know if did you read the article where one of the head writer for, it was either Raw or SmackDown, I don't know like what one it is, but she didn't even know who Bobby Lashley was. She had no idea who he even was. Like, so they're writing these stories for these guys, and they don't even know who they are as people. They don't even know what their character is or what they're supposed to be.
No, because they're going after that safe. They're going after the dramatic daytime, episodic dramatic fucking numbers. You know what I mean?
Well, that's fine if you want to do that, but write a soap opera at that point. Don't write a wrestling show.
Well, we're not. Remember, I think the key here is anytime we have to talk about sports, right? Because we can't sit here and say this orange, even though we're tasting it, this orange tastes like an apple. Well, the orange ain't never saying it was supposed to be an orange.
Yeah.
Right? Vince is the first person to say, well, this ain't pro wrestling, guys, so don't judge me by those standards. Yet somehow we have to. Because you made synonymous with pro wrestling that you tried to bury WWE with it. That's the problem.
I mean,
he's the Kleenex of tissue, and his tissue paper sucks.
That I really wanted to talk about, and it's more or less like maybe it's quote unquote stipulation rather than actual like fact. I don't know, but like is the Daniel Bryan going to AEW and the CM Punk signing with AEW. Like, as far as I've read, and I've read a lot of material about this because I'm interested in both of those wrestlers. As far as I know, they're both pretty much signed and sealed and delivered, like, as far as it goes with...
we'll talk about them when we get to the AEW section, but the sad thing we can't relate to the WWE is, no matter... We don't know if they're confirmed or not, but we know this much. WWE's just letting them slip through their fingers.
Dude,
that's the thing here.
Back a few weeks ago, they did another round of firing, and they let Braun Strowman, and I think we talked about it on the last podcast. They let Braun Strowman, a bunch of people go. You have whenever you think of Bobby Lashley, right? And I said to you, okay, we have Bobby Lashley and we have Braun Strowman on the same show. We're going to build a match for SummerSlam. We need to have somebody that Bobby Lashley can go up against and look a little bit weaker than normal because he's been fighting some people that, like Drew McIntyre, they pretty much ran a course with that. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have somebody who can really be a threat to Bobby Lashley. Who are you going to pick out of that bunch? Out of that roster at the time, who were you going to pick? Braun Strowman's the only one you could pick at that point and say, okay, this guy, looks-wise, has a viable physique to go up against him and really give him a run for his money.
Well, is that even thought about?
No.
Are viable physiques even thought about anymore? Or do they even care if anything doesn't make sense?
Well, I think that Vince McMahon does, because Vince McMahon likes the big, beefy, meaty boys is his thing. You know what I mean? So I think that
allegedly.
Well, allegedly, yeah.
I don't know. I've never talked with Vinnie Mac before, but I'd imagine. I know the stigma that he likes big men. You can. I mean, that's prevalent. That's why But I'm also of that generation where I like bigger guys. I tend to like bigger wrestlers, at least bigger than me. Because here's why I like to tune in to go into fantasy, and I like to watch superheroes duke it out on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what had happened when I was not so much crazy about the cruiserweights and the Benoits and the Eddie Guerreros, because it's like that could go. I'm not like not means of anybody tough or anything, but like if I look at you and go, I could kick your ass, Darby Allin. I don't know, but so we have to, so AEW has taught you to even go so far kayfabe out of that, because it's the statistics. The statistics protect you from having those wacky matchups. And when they do happen, the obvious can happen. And everyone goes, okay, that made sense.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'd kind of like to see you fight Darby Allin.
I beat the living shit out of Darby.
I think Darby Allin would wreck you.
I would beat you with Darby Allin.
I don't know.
Okay, I would put Darby Allin into my backpack. Here's what I would do with Darby Allin. Take a whole stop. Look around here. Oh, hi, Sadie. I have a computer. I have a laptop case on the back of this computer. I would stuff Darby Allin into this laptop case. All right? And when he's in there, I would let him pop out every week just to say hi to you and your fans. All right? And I will also say this. The next time you think that Darby Allin could take me down, I'm going to have the Gavel, Mr. Lawless, immediately start sending the fines and legal injunction paperwork in your direction. Because he now handles all of the PVGA and E-Nertia business from now on. We're a new regime around here. So if I say Darby gets it, he gets it.
Okay, he's getting it.
All right?
All right. You know me, I'm a Darby Allin fan, man.
Rant over. Adam agrees with me. Everyone's like, who's Adam? You'll find out. AdamCollectingCards.net. He's hoarded himself into his house, folks. That's going to be the show I'm going to make with Adam's card collecting. But Adam hates Darby. He knows. The most important thing I want to talk about WWE is Kevin freaking Nash on the Stone Cold freaking podcast. I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. Did you?
No, I did not. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because I'm working about 70 hours a week at this point. So I feel like
it's a lot. All
it's
that overtime, I bet.
A lot of stuff going on.
You hog.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. So, but no, I did not, unfortunately, get to watch it. I would like to watch it. I'm probably going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, if I know that, listen, we're going to talk about stuff we haven't seen yet. But listen, it's a thing for me to watch it. I got to get a Buddy's Network access key codes package coming to me in the mail, so I can get on there, watch that, and then
watch WWE Network.
Yeah, I don't know how to watch the Stone Cold podcast.
You don't have to. You watch it on Peacock, bro.
I don't have Peacock.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
All right. Listen. All right. You know my tech guys. Tell my tech guys to get me set up. Now, this is one of the true moments I've actually had to sound like Howard Stern. Because behind the scenes, we really don't want to tell people what you really do. Yeah, but what you really do does really impact my life and businesses.
Yes.
And you need to make sure that's on my hat. Talk to my people about that, because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that.
Yes, we need to make sure you have that, because
I can listen to it then and watch it.
You can literally watch any content that is on there for WCW, ECW.
Man, and that's just because I'm a subscriber of a cable package.
Yes.
That is I tell you what, it's a shame that company, that's a good company. That's all we're going to say. Right?
Let me tell you what, man, they put the bread and butter on the table.
Man, it's a shame that they wouldn't let us talk about them, because we'd make them billions more, right?
That's right. Hey.
It brought to you, a matter of fact, this show brought to you by, essentially. Yeah. But so anyway, if you guys have watched that, or any of you listened to it yet, I'm frothing at the mouth, because obviously I'm for life. I was with Vinny Vegas. All right. I remember when Sean brought me here, I was like, you guys remember him? That was Vinny Vegas. And then somebody was like, he was Oz too. And I was like, what? And then my mind got blown. Kevin Nash, I go back 92 at least, since I've been following Nash. even when he beat Backlund in 8.6 seconds, 8.8 seconds, something like that. And to hear him and Stone Cold, like I always thought like the NWO and Stone Cold would be like mortal enemies, but like it was like when these two talk, like Nash and him were like even through all the wars, him and Nash were always kind of cool. I like Stone Cold doing all the NWO gimmicks and like
I feel like Nash would just be somebody cool to like talk to anyway.
Well, Stone Cold says that. He's like, you see this sumbitch, he's got shoulders, he's 7 foot. You think the last person, the thing on him is going to be he's a funny motherfucker, you know? And that's a quote. I don't like to say that word. I'll bleep that out. But that's what Stone Cold said.
Well, I mean, he was in a couple movies that were really funny.
Listen, I met Kevin Nash on a movie set. My friend Bruce produced a movie with him and Kurt Angle about a monster truck that kills people. Kurt Angle drives it too. It's pretty sweet. I too sweeted. I've never met Kevin Nash ever, but my first thing was to not shake his hand. I too sweeted him. And that led to like, boom, you know, that I was like the director, the director was telling us how he filmed all these scenes, and it was really cool. You know, I'm always hanging around these movies. I don't know why. People like to bring me on them and introduce me to people. You know, I can't help it, Matthew Mounts. You know what I mean? I can't help it. You don't believe in me, but you believe in Darby
brother up,
Allin.
bro. Hook a brother up. That's all.
You know, why don't you? Well, listen, call Darby Allin. You, him, and Sting can hang out in his junkyard.
Dude, I would hang out with Sting in a heartbeat. That was like one of my favorite wrestlers back in the day.
Sting's a born again Christian. What he wouldn't want to hang out with you. He'd be like,
he would not want to hang out with me.
No, he wouldn't want to hang out with me
either. But Sting, like as a wrestler, I don't know. Like I've always like really enjoyed his work. I thought he was a great wrestler.
I'd like to hear him on the Stone Cold podcast.
On what?
On the Stone Cold podcast. That'd be cool to have.
See that too, but you're not going to anymore.
No. So listen, Jericho was on there, and again, WWE's not afraid to dip the proverbial toe. Let's say
I don't know what the relationship
into the forbidden door.
Yeah, but I don't know what the relationship between Sting and WWE is really like at this point. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
Sting's
speculating.
He's a 50-some-year-old businessman. The piss and vinegar's out of all that.
I mean, they offer him money, he's going to go do it. It ain't going to make it.
Well, I mean, it's more about creative freedom and passing that torch, I believe, and that's what Big Show said, you know. But I don't want to get off of that. Anyway, check out Nash. I'm going to check it out. We're going to talk about. We'll break it down on another segment. Nash on Stone Cold. I love it. Also, though, in kind of roundabout WWE world news. Your boy's girl, Will Ospreay's girl, Bea Priestley, former AEW, former New Japan Pro Wrestler, is officially signed as Blair Davenport under WWE NXT UK. Cue the applause. I'm so sad. Listen, I was sick to my stomach to read that news. I really was. See,
now here's my question. I know that Will Ospreay's like there's some issues going on in New Japan with him. So like, is this like a predecessor to like him coming to NXT?
It'd be the worst thing ever.
I hope not. I hope he doesn't.
Like, goodness! It'll be then bring him and have him fight Walter.
They'll immediately.
Oh my goodness! I'll end the show.
Dude, they'll immediately bring him to the States. I guarantee that.
Oh, then here's the thing: if he signs with WWE, he has no way of ever to prove if he could be better than Kenny.
No,
he'll never. You know,
I really hope
he won't be better than Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania. Remember him? He'll cheat you out of a couple things. So anyway, that is the WWE segment, folks. Now we get into the really, 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 really fun stuff. We also want to talk about some indie news because someone went to their first show, and I had
my cherry popped.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk about that. But to move quickly through some things on the side notes, I do want to talk about on NWA news. Cue the NWA logo here. Billy Corgan was on Chris Jericho's podcast, and if you don't listen to Jericho's podcast, it's awesome, man. And anybody that listens to us, you're gonna hear a lot of Joe Rogan in my style. You're going to hear a lot of Howard Stern. You're going to hear Chris Jericho. New Russell Brand's one of my favorite podcasters now too. And like Jericho is so good at everything he touches. It makes you sick. And on that note, again, Jericho was actually on Steve O's podcast recently promoting Jericho's book. And Steve O and Jericho, like two people that you never would, they mesh like total rock star life, total talking about book deals, just so good. I love this stuff. Two people talking is such great entertainment to me. But if you really want the scoop on NWA and what Corgan was thinking of and how grateful he is of Tony Khan using the NWA talent, and he approached that, and Tony was like, yeah, sure. He was like, do you want to do something with our belts? Like, I'm not going to be using them while Corona. And he said, Tony has been nothing but super supportive. And he doesn't want to be that. He doesn't want to, they tried to do that old style fashion one time. It was a one night only. And he said, everyone embraced it so much that it just became our thing.
Yeah.
With the old, really studio big blue curtain wrestling, and he talks about all that, and he talks about some things you were saying with his investments, especially coming off the bad things with TNA, and really grew anybody that's a fan of the indie wrestling, and anybody that wants to listen to the heritage of the NWA and how he talks about and how he wants to hold, because listen, it was so worthless when he bought it. WWE passed on it just to put it in archive, just to put it in the archive.
Yeah.
That's how little they thought, because that's Dusty Rhodes, that's that Southern stuff Vince wants to bury. But that needs to live and breathe, and whether it be in a museum or I feel in the quirky head of Billy Corgan, I believe whatever vision he is now surrounding himself, you bring Mickie James in there, who showed up at TNA the Slammiversary that just happened. I think that was their big pay-per-view. They are going to do one that's going to be 4 different companies.
Nice.
But to mesh with all that, to lead into did you follow up with any NWA yet, or have you had your chance to get your paws or mitts on any?
So I did watch some NWA stuff, but one of the big things that I saw recently, and I don't know how true it is, maybe you can verify it, but Thunder Rosa signed with AEW.
100%, she is signed.
With AEW.
Billy, Billy wished her well.
I think if you're Billy Corgan though, that's a blow to you. I mean, unless she's going to be able to come back and wrestle for you and stuff off and on or whatever. But like she gains a lot of popularity whenever she was wrestling Britt Baker and stuff like that. So I mean, I think that would have been a huge talent that he'd want to keep in that back pocket. But I mean, hey, look, I get it, man. Like, you got to let talent flourish. And if he feels she's going to do better in AEW and he wishes her well, and, hey.
Well, Nick, anybody he has could have had that. It's just, I think some people are seeing a little more of the vision now and the possibilities of the creativeness. Right now, AEW is the safe leap, okay? I questioned it when the Good Brothers jumped to TNA, but then I didn't realize Scott D'Amore was in New Japan behind the scenes with the Bullet Club and all these guys. Don Callis is there. Yep. I start to see, okay, you get Corgan now. Now Mickie James is allowed to show up on TNA. They actually talk about her past there. She's recruiting for the NWA show on TNA. You got freaking Jay White, Bullet Club leaders showing up at TNA. Wow. It feels like the most exciting stuff now is kind of happening in that TNA.
What is he, the Switchblade?
Switch. Yeah. King Switch is here. It seems like it's happening in that little TNA show more so than AEW, because AEW is kind of its own universe and it does interact with others. But it seems like Impact's becoming this hub spot where we all come.
I kind of feel like
to do something.
Tony Khan. I've heard some people give Tony Khan some grief about letting wrestlers go wrestle for other companies and blah, blah, blah. Okay,
grief from who?
Dude, tell me that's not a genius move, though. It's genius. Because you figure at any point in time, your roster now goes from being my company's roster, and I'm training and developing new talent. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do there, whatever. But then you have TNA's talent pool, you have New Japan's talent pool, you have Triple A's talent pool, you have New Japan. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he could go to any one of those companies and say, "Hey, I'd like to have your guys on my show," and there's not one of them that's going to say, "No, no, no, I don't think that's a bad idea." You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
they're gonna go, "Yeah,
it comes to well, this is more of how business should run. Even if and with AEW, they're not contractors; they are actually employees,
yes,
which is the first time ever that has happened. And so we're in this new world, and this is not a new thing. In the normal world of contractors, if you pay a guy a contract to come cut your house, in what world do you have in your contract that guy can only cut grass at your house as many times as you tell him to?
Exactly.
That doesn't exist. So for years he's screwed people through the authority of these contracts because they had no place to go. Because the same people that are telling Tony Khan he's an idiot were the same Stone Cold fans wanting WCW to go under. And for anybody on Twitter to sit here and tell Tony Khan what he's doing is bad, he's only doing exactly opposite of what you've seen, what we've been seeing. He's doing what Vince's dad told Vince not to do. Yeah. So it's not like where anybody that criticizes a billionaire what he does with his company, I want to go, what should he have done?
The thing that I really like with Tony Khan is that he isn't going out trying to buy up the competition. He's saying, listen, we don't need to be competition. Let's all work together to take on the juggernaut that has completely...
Listen, rewind the show.
I know that. No, I know.
2 months ago when you were like, I don't get it. I hate it.
But listen. Now watching it and then going to that independent show that I went to and seeing top talent from WWE that's no longer with WWE at that show in Bell Vernon of all places. These guys don't have to do. These guys made enough money. They don't have to go to Bell Vernon and wrestle in an Isoplex. They don't need to. They want to. They wanted to come there. They wanted to.
Their family, man. It's emotions. It's memories.
And
you know.
I'm going to tell you.
I want to get to your show, but I do want to wrap up all the other indie stuff. I do want to make some highlights. We'll get so the TNA stuff is just blowing off the charts. Jay White did show up. The Bullet Club added Chris Bay. He recruited Chris Bay while he was there. He's there to pick a bone with Finjuice, and he's there to pick a bone with the Elite, basically calling them the biggest Bullet Club fanboys. I, for one, am on the Elite side because the Bullet Club hasn't really done much since they left, but I don't want to see a Bullet Club Elite Civil War. I would love to see the Ultimate swerve and say, look, we have agents in all the businesses. And I would like Don Callis to start moving and maybe pluck some people from the Bullet Club to the Elite, maybe. I don't know, but I love it. I love the fact that Thunder Rosa can show up as a mystery opponent at a TNA event. She signed with AEW. She just left NWA, and she's Deonna Purrazzo's surprise opponent. What? Did she do the honors to Deonna? Yes, because she just got her AEW contract. Does it make her look weak? No. That verifies me as a great asset to AEW when I can go anywhere. So I think that kind of thing. Mickie James is showing up, recruiting women to come to her NWA show that she's producing. So much going on with that. You got to our AEW, and to speed through that quick because I want to get to your show too. Your boy Malakai Black showed up. 30-day clause instead of a 90.
Hey man.
Immediately thrust to a main event promo with Cody. Wow. Okay.
I love the guy. I listen, I've been an Aleister Black fan since he was on NXT. Like, I didn't see his independent work. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I watched him back in whatever. No, I didn't. I saw him on NXT, and it wasn't even like a debut episode or anything. He'd been there for a while. I just happened to turn it on one day because I didn't really watch NXT. And I watched him, and I was just like, it was that moment as a kid watching Sting come out for the first time with that black and white makeup on, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this guy is gonna be so good, man." And then the main roster screws him, but like him in AEW and what I expect him to do, it's gonna be like, look at every wrestler that's gone over there right now that's doing well, like Miro. Like Miro, just like that guy has took the ball and literally he has ran with it. He's the redeemer. He's like he's
next on my list. Hold on, he's next because we have to discuss the fact that when I didn't even know. I don't know Aleister Black.
Yeah,
I know you marked for him. I stayed away from him. I knew he was coming. We heard the rumors.
Yeah,
but when I saw Malakai Black and I heard the pop, I was in the 90s again going, whoa, I personally don't know this guy, but listen, I'm all about that crowd.
Yeah.
Listen to that crowd. And when they popped, I was like, okay, Cody, you got somebody now.
Well, he also has another alter ego that, I mean, I don't know if they'll bring that part of it in, but like,
well, I don't know what we can do. I know we can't copyright Black, or McMahon again would be, I own that color.
the Tommy Mayhem or whatever it is that he was in the Indies.
Well, yeah, you did predict wrongly last episode that he will use his real name.
Well, that's what a lot of people online were saying. That's what a lot of the dirt sheets were saying. He was going to come back as like Tommy Mayhem, or I don't know what the actual.
Listen, the dirt sheets are manipulated by the wrestlers.
Oh yeah, I know. But like whenever, like, I love the fact that too. What's the Excalibur said? This isn't the Tommy Mayhem I wrestled, 10 years ago. This is Malakai Black. Like, he even put him over. Like, hey, listen, I was in a ring with this guy. He's dangerous. You know what I mean? Like I have experience with this guy, and like I love that. I love the fact that the announce team was able to, number one, narrate the story like WCW used to in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Number two, you had a wrestler who is now an announcer who says, "Hey, listen, this guy, he's gonna be bad. Yeah, he's bad in a good way, not bad like he's a bad wrestler."
Yeah,
and then he just kicks Cody's fucking head off, which is, I'm sorry, but anytime I see Cody Rhodes get his head kicked off, I'm pretty excited about it because I'm so over this pretty boy. Like, I'm the family man. I'm the best thing ever. Blah, blah,
Prince of Pro Wrestling gimmick is over with me.
Turn heel, brother, please.
Listen, I was all about the American Nightmare, but he's not been the American Nightmare since AEW started, but I agree. Let's talk about your favorite wrestler in mine, Omega. What wrestler can literally walk out of a beating from Sami Callihan? And if you haven't seen the Sami Callihan Kenny Omega match, go watch it. He makes Sami Callihan swallow thumbtacks, and then he V-triggers him in the mouth while the thumbtacks are in there, and I got scared and nervous. Then Kenny comes out. He's got a match with Hangman Page coming up and the Dark Order, and then guess what? Andrade Idolo shows up, but we also got to remember that he's also wrestles in AAA, Mexico. Kenny is Idolo has a match with Kenny for the AAA World Belt.
Oh, wow.
And that's not even, that's on this download. So that guy, but let's also watch about Andrade Idolo. Now, he called out the terror triangle, the death triangle to make them faces, and he took the heel route. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's also not let Jason Swinchock make a prediction here. Since the forbidden doors are open and we're working with New Japan, Andrade has allies in Los Ingobernables. It is a faction that is in Japan, and it was in the Mexican company he wrestled in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This guy has allies on all areas. And now that the forbidden doors are open, in a world where Lance Archer can stick this man to a table and you have one half of God, Tonga Lau, sitting in the crowd, too sweeting the camera with his Bullet Club shirt on, and they then can get in the ring. Like, if your head's not exploding at the greatest time in wrestling right now, Matthew Mounts, I don't know what to tell you.
You know, I didn't, like I said in previous podcasts, I didn't understand it, and now I've drank the juice. I've drank the Kool-Aid. Like, seeing what has transpired in the last like 2 months or so, it's amazing to watch that section of wrestling. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, I watched.
Have you ever
WWE.
seen a wrestler go from this show and have in 1 month? Kenny Omega has 4 pay-per-view title defenses in 1 month.
Yeah.
Call him what you want. Maybe he's the greatest, maybe he's not. I don't know of any wrestler in the history that had that much pay-per-view. Call Dusty and call Rick, and they were champions in all the territories. I get it. Give them their props. Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold. But has any of y'all held 4 major world titles and continuously defend them to where we go, he beat Sami Callihan? I don't know if Hangman Page can beat him. I don't want Hangman Page. I want Hangman to be back in the Elite, Matt. There's so much story there that the AEW didn't miss. But there's a big part of me that knows that Adam Page is going to be a mega star. Cowboy. When I hear cowboy shit, the crowd wants that man to beat Kenny Omega, and I think that's what we all wanted for Hangman 3 years ago when he was going against Jericho, and we all went, man, he's Bullet Club, we love him, but he can't beat Chris Jericho.
But here's
now maybe he can.
Here's the thing, though, with Hangman Page 3 years ago. Do you think that the Elite?
You guys didn't know him, though. He was just a cowboy to you guys.
No, but I'm saying, but like Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, like the people who were surrounding him because they're still friends, obviously. You know what I mean? I'm sure they are. So, like, those people who surrounded him probably were like, listen, like, we need Jericho to carry the belt. You're gonna have to get beat. You understand that. Your time's gonna come, but now
I don't think Hangman has. I think Hangman's having the time of his life.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have a baby.
His
wife's gonna have a baby.
I think him and his best friends all put together, that whole roster, put him on the top spot.
Yeah,
and he's got me, who's a born blood heel rooter. And my favorite wrestler, Kenny Omega, but I would say, man, we might be able to have to drop one of our belts to Mr. Page because he deserves it.
But here's the thing, though, too, and just like you said, like you're a born heel, like that. You're a heel guy, right?
But I love Hangman.
They have made you, in the process of this, in the last 3 years, they have made you feel something for Hangman Page.
I'll tell you what. Yes, you're right.
Should be the guy. It's just like you had said in a previous podcast that every time you saw Lex Luger come out and face Hollywood, you said, "Oh shit, he's going to lose the title," right?
Yes.
That's what they're going to do with Hangman Page.
Well, here's what you said. Here's the other thing that you said that's and me and all my friends are going through this, because me and all my friends, minus very few exceptions over the years, where I've always been heel guys. But when we watch AEW since the beginning, you cannot watch Jack Perry wrestle anybody and not go, wow. Now, vice versa, I'll challenge anybody to watch, and I wanted to talk about these. The Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans are 2 of the greatest in-ring performers in character than ever. Jack Evans, that little cocky mouth, never shuts up, but he can pull off and just stuff like that. I don't know how I look and go, how do people like the heroes and faces not go, wow, though, that's a good, you know what I mean? I always had that in me, but AEW, I don't like Darby Allin and Sting, but I enjoyed Darby Allin versus Who was the fellow that came out with the best friends? Orange Cat and Sting and Orange Cassidy did their little gimmick. He's the new dude with them. I don't know, the Asian guy, right?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, he's from Philadelphia, actually.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, and so like I can get into the spirit of those things, and I like fate. I like the Death Triangle. I like Pentel Zero, whether they're faces or heels. I like the Elite, whether they're. I didn't listen. It's hard to like Kenny Omega and the Elite when they're good guys. I struggled for 2.5 years to just tell everybody how great Kenny was.
I want a Lucha Bros shirt so bad. Like I will have one.
Sato. I got a Young Bucks Lucha Brothers.
I love
that makes fun of the Lucha.
No, I love the Lucha Brothers. I don't know what it is about those guys, but man, like I love the way that like their outfits are just. Yeah.
Listen, dude, one time, me and producer Josh were at Old Mexico restaurant, and majority of the workers are there, or they're all Latin American, in some sort, but majority of them are from Mexico. So I walked in once, and there's this nice lady named Patty, and she's always like, "Hi, Jason," in her accent, and I'm like, "Hey, Patty," and I gave her a cero miedo, and she went like this. Ooh. And I swear, me and John, I was like, that didn't even, I thought they would thought it was the coolest thing ever when I did it to them, and they were all like, oh.
Okay.
Well, so anyway, man.
What they do is they pented you. They were like, ooh.
Yeah, they were like, ooh, is it, man? I'm like, oh, okay. They call me Diablo Blanco, too. What's that mean? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think it's White Devil. It's White Devil. So anyway, getting all this wrestling talk off the table, we're going to be talking about your first independent wrestling show, and it was IWC, right?
It was.
All the boys are there, and it's a special like homecoming event.
It's a superstar showdown.
Superstar Showdown. What happens at the Superstar Showdown? I can't wait.
Well, so they had Enzo there. They had Big Cass there.
Big Cass. Was he Big Cass or Morrissey?
Well, he was Morrissey. Yeah, They had him there. They had there was a dude from New Japan too. I can't think of his name. Juice Robinson? Yes.
All right. Juice ain't old.
Well, Juice and Enzo had a match.
Well, Juice is in Finn Juice.
Yeah, well,
listen, that's who Jay White came to get.
Yeah.
So you're in the Forbidden Door, Matthew.
Yeah.
You were sitting in the Forbidden Door in an IWC show.
My favorite wrestler of the night was on there. And I don't know why this guy was my favorite wrestler, but I bought his shirt because he was just that awesome, dude. The Wrecking Ball. Right?
I'm the real Wrecking Ball.
This guy
I'm the real Wrecking Ball.
This guy's like probably 350, 400 pounds. Yeah. Big baller guy. And he fought this little dude from like West Virginia or whatever. And I mean, and this kid, he obviously like this kid, he ends up beating him, but like this kid's like the typical like indie wrestler, hair slicked back, jacked, whatever. And he just like, dude, this dude, people are like cheering for this kid, like going crazy. And I'm in the front, like third row back, and I'm going, Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, look, I like this guy, man. I don't know. I just did. He had purple on and shit. He was cool. And then after we were done, we walk out, and he's the guy standing at the door trying to sell his merch out of a suitcase, man. Nice. And I was like, you know what? I was like, how much is your shirt, dude? He goes like $20. I was like, here's the debit card. I talked to him for a second. I told him that I was going to plug him on our podcast, and I'm plugging him.
There he is. We'll look him up. I'll put some social media out there. Hey, Mr. Wrecking Ball, you made the night memorable, and that's his job.
Yeah.
And I like the IWC shows because, listen, I'm not going to cheer for the face pre-program. I'm going to cheer for the guy who's working the crowd and they're listening and cheer for me. And that helps teach those wrestlers too. But listen, if a young heel wrestler pulls off some amazing stuff, You gotta listen to you gotta give them you gotta do something. You gotta make the show happen.
Those guys, for where they were and for what they were probably being paid to be there, and I don't know what their salaries are or whatever, they put on one hell of a show, and they went up against talent that came from top tier down, and they gave them a run for their money, and they made it look good. They did everything they were supposed to do. They all got their spots in. You know what I mean? They really did a fantastic job. And funny enough, if you go to the WrestleMarks fan page on Facebook, you can see all of the pictures from the IWC show.
Boom! Boom! Folks, log into the Facebook's page.
Yep.
Facebook.com, I assume, Jason's podcast.
Yeah.
Right? And there you'll see all the pictures. But now, my most important question, if IWC was there, was it being properly regulated?
Yes, they had a over the top battle royal, and the Gavel was there, and he
won.
Did he win?
I don't know. Did he win?
I can't remember if he won, actually.
Oh, let me tell you something. Oof.
He may have. I know there was a heel worker at some point that had he comes out with a white jacket on, and I don't know who he is, but I'll be honest with you, the guy, he did his job because he was really fucking annoying. That's all I'm saying. He did his job because he was just really annoying.
The Gavel likes to show off his arms, and he has a new. I watched David Gavel get heat. We're just shortening his name. I watched David Gavel, Mr. Lawless. Me and Josh attended a couple IWC shows last year, and I watched that Regulators faction came out, and I tell you what. I looked at him and I said, I haven't seen a heel. I haven't seen heel faction in an indie show that elicits so much hate because they had the perfect. They were telling people to mask up during Corona. It was the perfect gimmick to get some cheap, viable heat. But the way I watched David Lawless, Chris LaRusso, and Jacques Sampson, and then they have two minions, a deputy guy, a little small guy, and the way that these guys don't. Now Chris LaRusso, he'll get in the ring and he'll tear the ring up, but Jacques and David, I like that. David wrestles almost like a big man, like a big boss man. David reminds me of because he has a lot of big power moves. But David does not do anything in the ring that isn't wasted. And everything David does as a heel, he makes sure a slam, shut that crowd up. You know what I mean? If Jacques slams a guy down, David's yelling at somebody in the crowd, and he's bringing that crowd into the show. And that is... Everybody in that crowd wants to be a part of the show, and I tell everybody, cheer, because that's your job when you're there. Yeah. But the way those Regulators, I watched David sell. He must have got that tattoo on his arm last summer. I watched him show this tattoo off to these people in the crowd, and the amount of screaming and hate that man got for just showing his tattoo off was that's being over as a heel. That's not cheap heat. Yeah. That is... Everything you do, the people hate. And I was amazed by it. Yeah. Now, did you see that no good Johnny Patch running around there doing this Daredevil?
Johnny Patch was in the Battle Royal.
Was he jumping off stuff? Because he's always flipping, doing 720s off the top ropes.
I don't know, because it's really never have gone to
it's tough, especially. Really I talked to Johnny and I told Johnny you were coming, and he was kind of a little. I don't want to say bummed out that he was in the Battle Royal because they probably had to pull an audible, but there was a card.
You could tell that he was kind of not really with it.
Well, I think a couple matches
out as much and stuff, and I would assume watching an interview that you had with him, he seems to be the type who like really likes to work the crowd and like talk and like, like get everybody kind of motivated and jump. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he
Well,
really
I
wasn't
think
feeling it. I don't think.
well the night was more for the guy. The night was more for the legends.
Yeah.
And the legends also understand it. Hey, you guys had a match. I'm sorry, it's probably got bumped to a battle royal. So, hey, you're still going to give the crowd a hell of a show. But if you have 6 or 7 spots, it's probably tough to get all your stuff in during that battle royal unless you're pairing off with a couple guys. Like, hey, midway through, let's dance to do this. Find me. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not a great extravaganza. You need to really see Johnny Patch in a one-on-one match.
I did get to take a really cool picture of RC Dupree.
Oh, RC was there?
Well, I got to see him going back into the ring from the ropes, but I caught him like right as he got like air. So like his hair's like up here and he's like just getting ready to touch on the floor. It's a cool picture. Like
add that one too, and then tag those guys in it. Tag Patch and tag RC and tag David on all those pictures on there as well, so those guys see it, because I know RC well too, man. David, to do the promo for us for this show, my gosh, anything that man, and you heard it here, folks, that anything the Gavel David Lawless needs, anything in our power, we're getting for him. And if that means we have to jump the railing and help him win matches, he's probably like, no, you can't do that. Yeah, so whatever that means.
And then also, and the last but not least, but Sam Adonis was there too, which I didn't know that he was Corey Graves' brother.
I did not know that either.
He is. And dude, I'm going to tell you what, I've actually like talked to him a little bit through Twitter. I sent him the pictures because his girlfriend's an IWC wrestler too.
Who?
They had a mixed match. Her name's Carrie, but that's not what she goes. She goes by Ray Lynn.
Okay, I'll tell. Yes, I know a little bit about Ray Lynn. Johnny Patch, if you listen to his interview, I believe Ray Lynn taught him how. He had matches with Ray Lynn, intergender matches.
They had an intergender match there. Well, like a mixed tag team match, which ended up breaking out into the women beating up the men. And it was but like them as a couple, whatever, as them as tag team partners, like you could tell, like they really like genuinely like love the business and what they do. Like they can't, like he come out, dude. I'm going to tell you what, that robe that he had, Ric Flair would be in awe of that. I mean, it had the arms cut out. It was beautiful.
And it's some of those guys, you can see who the guys that are trying the hardest. But I tell you what, my favorite wrestlers tend to be the guys that have careers.
Yeah,
like these lawyers, they don't wrestle for the money. They do it for the love and the passion of this art form sport that we all do. And you can see that they just know the ins and outs of it. Someone taught these guys how to act, and they went to drama school. If not, they can come over here and I'll teach them. I'm working with you. You're all of a sudden a YouTube personality. You got your fan base. I walk in to talk to you, and people tell me, "Oh, he's do you know him? Because he's famous." And I'm like, "Oh, is he? Oh yeah, he's on a show. Oh, is he?" That's what I hear when I come to talk to you. I do think that we need a love section, though. I think we do have a lot of people, and comment below if you'd like this, that I think that when we're talking about things you like, I think digging in, I want to hear about what you were saying about that guy, but let's talk about next time. Let's go in with NXT. Let's dive deep in NXT and talk about NXT and Nash on the Stone Cold podcast. That'll be our WWE lineup for next show.
Okay.
And if everybody loves it, I think more people are going to respond to you talking NXT, and especially if they want, like the guys that we want to watch, this is what I would want to know, right?
Yeah.
So if you agree with me, hit us up down below on that. Don't subscribe, and unring the bell. Find me on Instagram and then immediately block me.
Yes.
You can look for Matthew on our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/WrestleMarks podcast. See behind the scenes stuff. of you getting pictures from the IWC events. Our Patreon will be launching soon. I know I talked about it, but I move at a snail's pace. All right. And that's going to be coming. So we'll have that on there as well. Make sure to follow everybody we're talking about and support these guys. And if you want to know any more information, go to the links below. You can jump around. It's all marked with the links or for whatever. Go to support this Mr. Wrecking Ball on his t-shirt over there.
That's right, man.
You know, AEW. Don't forget about supporting our parent PVGA company. And there's nothing more to say, Matthew, except bye.
This is how we should end it. Like I've been watching WCW, so my head's stuck in the NWO phase, right?
Let's end it like that.
Okay.
The preceding announcement.
Because the WrestleMarks, you're Jason.
I'm Jason. I'm leaving this all in, by the way. I'm Jason. Yes.
Because and we're the WrestleMarks, and we're just too sweet. You know, like how Hogan used to say it.
Oh, he never could say it really right.
I know. That's why
Hogan, it never looked right when Hogan went,
no.